Pride. When I think of pride, many things come into my mind. But one main thing stands out from the rest, and that is being part of the Mexican culture. If there is one stereotype that many Mexicans fit into, is that we like to celebrate, and big. Mexican celebrations will be the first topic that I'll be discussing in this speech. The other two topics include Catholicism as a leading religion among Mexicans, and Mexican values that we hold near and dear to our hearts. And by the end of this video, you'll know why I, Siria Arellano, am proud to be part of the Mexican culture. First, let's talk about the celebrations within the Mexican culture. One of the biggest celebrations within this culture are quinceañeras, and this is actually the dress and the crown that I wore on the day of my quinceañera. A quinceañera is basically a festivity to show that a young girl is becoming a woman. Before the party, there is usually a celebratory mass to give thanks and glory to God for allowing this young girl to become a woman. During the mass, she is given a blessing by the priest to enter her adulthood. After the mass, there is also a party, and during this party, she dances a waltz with both her parents, and the parents show off that their little girl is becoming a woman. The dad also changes the shoes of the young girl, which are usually flats or sneakers, into heels to symbolize her womanhood. After this, she is also given a doll, and this is the doll that I got, and the doll usually represents that the girl is no longer a young girl and has now officially become a woman. Another big celebration within our culture is Day of the Dead, better known as Dia de los Muertos, and this day is celebrated on November 2nd. Which is really important to us because we believe that on this day, the border between the spiritual world and the earthly world dissolves completely, which allows the spirits to come back into our lives for one day. On this day, many families go to the cemetery and they place flowers or goodies on the graves of those who they have lost. Other families, like my own, set up a table in our home, and on this table we place pictures of those who have passed away. The picture lets them know that we are inviting them to celebrate with us. On the table, we might also place marigold petals because we believe that the scent allows them to know that we are inviting them into our altar that we have created for them. We also place candles because they serve as a path and letting them know that we are here to celebrate them. On the table, we might also add some of their favorite foods, drinks, or anything that they might have enjoyed during their lifetime. We also place statues of saints or the Virgin Mary, which lets them know that we have been praying for them. Another celebration in the Mexican culture are posadas, or in English known as the Inns. Posadas are a religious celebration that lasts over a week, starting from December 16th until the 24th. The posadas are to show the journey that Mary and Joseph had to endure from Nazareth to Bethlehem so that Mary can have Jesus safely. The posadas are depicted with many children going around in neighborhoods, and one boy is just dressed up as Joseph and one girl is dressed up as the Virgin Mary. And they also have a younger kid dressed up as an angel to lead the way. Basically, what the kids do is they go around in the neighborhood and knock on doors and basically ask for refuge. Because this is what Mary and Joseph did so that Mary could have Jesus safely. Now let's talk about my second main topic, which is Catholicism as a leading religion among Mexicans. In the Catholic Church, there is many important days, but one day that I'll be focusing on today is the Day of the Three Wise Men, in Spanish known as El Día de los Reyes Magos. This day is usually celebrated with a dessert known in Spanish as La Rosca de Reyes, or in English known as a wreath. The wreath obviously holds a form of a circle, which represents the eternal love that Jesus has for us, with no beginning or end to it. The wreath also has candies, which it is decorated with, and some people think that the candies represent the sins and temptation that keep us from Jesus, and other people in the church think that it represents the gifts that the three wise men took to Jesus when he was born. This is the wreath that I was talking about, and that is the little doll that I was also talking about. An important dessert during Easter season and Holy Week is capirotada. This is a dessert that can obviously be eaten during any time of the year, but it is important during Easter season and Holy Week because the ingredients represent stuff from the life of Jesus. One ingredient that is one of the most important is the cloves, and the cloves represent the nails that Jesus had in his hands and in his feet. An important Catholic tradition that is done among many Mexicans is the presentation of the child. This presentation can be done anywhere from the first day that the baby is born until they are 3 years old. They do this so that they can publicly recognize the child as a gift from God before the church. There is also a ceremonial mass, and during the ceremonial mass, the priest calls up the parents and the godparents and bestows upon them the responsibility that they now have to teach the baby the way of the church. The baby is then congregated into the church and has now been recognized as a child of God. During this time, the child is also in white clothing to symbolize the purity that they have. And this year, I was also given the honor to present my niece, which has now become my goddaughter, and I plan on fulfilling the promise of teaching her the way of the church. Lastly, I'll be talking about the values that Mexicans hold. One of the biggest values that we have is education. We value education because since a very young age, it has been instituted into us that we must use education to persevere and move forward. This is because many of our parents didn't get to finish their school careers because they had to drop out of school and start to find a job so that they could provide for their family. Another thing that we value is respect. This can be seen in the way that we speak to our parents. An example of this would be if my parent calls me and they say Siria, I will say mande, which translates to yes. And if I say que, which translates to what, it is seen as disrespectful. Respect can also be shown when you go to a party and we have to greet everyone. And if we don't greet everyone, it is seen as stuck up within our culture. In this speech, I talked about why I, Siria Arellano, am proud to be part of the Mexican culture. I talked about some of our values, celebrations, and our religion. I hope that you are as proud to be part of your culture as I am proud to be of mine.